Raising Unicorns!
Harmon Brothers!
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Raising Unicorns. It's not couch, but on the chair today, we have the amazing, incredibly talented, one and only Lisa Valentine Clark.
Thank you for having me.
It's time to chat with a legend.
That's legendary.
For those of you who don't know, Lisa has her own, it's a podcast.
It's a podcast.
It started off as a radio show.
It did.
And then it transitioned into a amazing the Lisa Show.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, you're the best. So you're creating content. How often are you doing the show? You doing it every day still, or like?
Yeah, I mean, it's my full-time gig.
Yeah.
And so we release a podcast once a week, and then every day we release like social media content or like bonus material.
When you're thinking about making
Yeah.
content, how do you approach it? Like when you're tackling a subject, like whether it's like body image issues or like, you're thinking about like, caregiving, like when you approach that, how do you think about it when you're talking about your outlines or where are we going to take this discussion?
Yeah, you bet. Well, I have two really great producers who I feel really free to like show up with and that are like creative in their own right and talented and smart. And I think that's surrounding yourself with like really talented people is like the hack, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the trick.
That's really where it comes down to.
I mean, I'm sure like having done a lot of commercial work, you just show up and you really want to please the client.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you want out of this? And then you're able to do it, right? And so a part of that, so the reason why I mentioned like my team and producers and the environment where I work at BYU Broadcasting is because that is a huge, like how you even approach it, how you even think, well, what's possible is influenced by that structure. So when I walk into Harmon Brothers and I have like a great team and a great director and great producers and people that I immediately, just connect with, and they say something like, well, just improv this. Well, how would you say it? Or what would you say in this line to tweak it? And they really trust you and that this is a free place to play, then you're going to take bigger risks.
Yeah.
But I don't feel that on every set. So
That's because those people are idiots.
I agree. Because what they're doing is they're unnecessarily confining creativity where they don't need to. I mean, I understand deadlines, and film production, and you got to stay on a schedule. Absolutely 100%. But I'm saying that if every member of your team feels supported of like, okay, we can't accept every idea, of course, we have to focus it, but we want to play a little bit and we want to do that because I come from a background of improv. Yeah. To me, that just always yields a better result. So how do we do that on Lisa's show is, I don't have any special magic unicorn dust, but I do think my secret weapon is authenticity.
Yeah.
I'm willing to be like, this is me. And do you know what I mean? Like, yes, I would like to look very mysterious and elegant and composed.
Yeah.
And sometimes I pretend like I am, but really like showing up who I really am. And the thing that I like about doing my podcast is I feel like I saw a need because I'm Gen X, come from the old days of mommy blogging, and I hate that term, but we used to write essays, personal essays is how I like to say it.
People read.
And people read them and we connected and it was a way to express how hard it is to raise kids and be a woman.
Did you have a blog back in the day?
Yes, I did.
Is it still up?
Probably. I haven't checked it for... Yeah, I had a blog spot for...
Oh my gosh.
It was called Almost Famous for a while. It was .blogspot. But nobody does that anymore. But I feel like that was the beginning of... I'm having a hard time. People used to walk out their front doors, especially stay-at-home moms, and like look around and you were part of a community. And we've become increasingly... disconnected. COVID really put the nail in that casket of us all being individualized. And we're looking for that kind of connection. So I feel like one of the things that I'm the most proud of the Lisa show is that I'm going to say it. I'm going to put the authenticity on the line. And it doesn't always make me look great, but who cares?
Who cares? It's such an interesting thing of like, I think the brand side of things and like how they communicate, it's just like a generation behind. And like, they're just now starting to catch up because like, think about like the boomer generation, like the baby boomer generation, like my parents like did not like there was just certain things you didn't say, you didn't talk about it. Even like some things you didn't say in public. There's even some things you didn't even talk about in the home, like period. Like it was just like the sense of propriety that I think kind of like crossed over into like brands. It's like a respectable brand doesn't say these things. Right. That's ridiculous. You know, it's like has to have this air of like seriousness to it, or
an authority too. Like we have the answer for you. Everything. You need this, and this will make your life better.
Yeah. We know all the things.
Yeah.
You know, and it produced such great advertising with like, a woman needs a nice Blendtec blender.
And listen,
Blendtec never said that for the record.
No, they never did. But I would like one. If they're listening, I would sponsor you.
Come on the show, Lisa, at lisashow.com.
Always hustling.
But I do think it's so funny how, like, obviously the internet has changed it too, because like the whole like medium of advertising has shifted in the last 15 years in a tsunami of work going to internet advertising, video advertising online on different platforms, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff, connected TV. And so I think like it's also like those spaces that you talked about where the mommy blogs were, and then like you started to get like the Instagram, like people who are getting big followers and like kind of being like documenting their lives for better or worse. By the way, whenever I talk to my wife about this, about mommy bloggers, I'm like, what happened to like when people just wrote blogs for like, hey, come check out my stuff. And then sometimes they got huge and it felt like pretty genuine. Now, I don't know why, like the Instagram influencers, it's like, hey, I'm leveraging my child's like youth for money.
Well, it's not the same thing, because if you're talking about advertising, like, okay, so I'm a little bit of a purist, like, because like the blogging, like we wrote essays. It was writing. It was like, my smart friends were doing it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
People who had like, not like,
who had English degrees and
masters in English.
Like the best blog that I followed was my friend, Every Day I Read the Book, Casey Faulkner. And I was like, I have to be friends with her. She's so smart. She's so wickedly funny. Yeah. And that's how we became like really good friends, because has a master's degree in rhetoric. Yeah. And so she knows how to write. Now, she will never be an influencer, mostly because she doesn't want to be. She could if she wanted to, but she doesn't want to. Yeah. So I understand what you say, but it's so interesting that you say that, because that is when advertising shifted, right? From like integrated, you know, we used to have like product placement. You know, you'll see a can of Pepsi in the background in a movie set or whatever.
You know what I mean?
And they pay so much money for it. And now it's like, oh, did you want to know what kind of toothpaste my kids and I use? Oh, a lot of people have been asking me about my skincare. Nobody's been asking. But you know, and then it became that. And I sort of have that same, because it seems inauthentic. Yeah. If you want to know what people are talking about, you talk to people. Yeah. You just ask them. You don't try to feel like you're like separated from, like on our show, I literally bring in people and I think, well, what do you think? What do you think? Is this interesting? What is something that people aren't talking about that you wished they were talking about? Yeah. And I talk to people all over the country, and I ask my friends for favors all the time. Like, just tell me what you think about this. And then if I see something that's coming up again and again, I think, oh, that's what we're going to do a season on. That's what we're going to go deep dive into. And I think absolutely that like stand-up comedy does that. Advertising does that. I mean, any creative content, you want to resonate with people because you want to connect with them. Yeah. And what they're worried about and thinking about and talking about or excited about is what they'll connect with. Yeah. And so I think people miss that when they're trying to think, well, what should we, whether it's toothpaste or lawnmowers or what, it doesn't matter like what the product is, but it's saying, okay, what is the issue surrounding this topic, and then how can we solve a problem for them? Yeah. How can we connect?
It's so true, because I mean, like when I talk to like potential clients all the time on the phone, when we're like seeing if they're a good fit for them, they're always like, "What's your creative process?" And like it's funny because I think it sounds so obvious when we talk to them about this. We're like, "Well, we use something called the user method, where we try and get to the head of the consumer. We try and use the product ourselves. We try and give it to people who are within the target audience. Smart. And then we go ask them like, what'd you think about this product? What'd you like about it? What didn't you like about it?" And then it's also ask people who have never even seen the product of like, what do you think about like these options that are alternative options out there? What do you like about it? What don't you like them? And just like very conversational. Cause like I think it's really easy for, like focus groups to just go like off the rail, or like they like overthink it.
I know that's tricky because they're getting paid for their comments. Exactly. And you do want focus groups. Like there's definitely focus groups for But
like unfiltered feedback from like people who you trust,
Yeah, that's invaluable.
As a friend is totally different as far as like insights that can come out of that. And it's like for us, like I remember on the Chatbooks ad, we went and like just interviewed a bunch of like Chapbox's like favorite customers that they just came into the office and they're like, I'll tell you all about it. You know, like the love group, they're just like, let me evangelize. Preach.
No, totally. And having that, following that love group can give you a lot of ideas because they're using your product. They're thinking about it. They love it. We have the same thing. We have like Lisa's listener community.
You have your own love group?
But then we like have discussions on Facebook, you know, just about like the episode. Because some people want to talk about it, like especially this caregiving season that we've had. They want to connect with real people in real life. And doing that as a product. And listen, a podcast is a product. Like Chatbooks is a product. Like they're all products and they want to come in and talk about them. And it gives me ideas. And sometimes I ask explicitly, like, what kind of questions would you like to hear for our Council of Moms? What's worrying you that we can help? Like, what do you want to hear more about? And I mean, for those, like I'm thinking about your audience right now who is, you know, maybe they're trying to think, okay, I need to, you know, create a commercial. I need to create, you know, a product.
Market my product.
I need to market my product. How, you know, what do I need to tell my team? And I do have to sit, like, two things really come to mind, like, as you were talking, that I do use a lot of research and it's so easy now to look at all the statistics of who's clicking on Instagram and Facebook and where they're listening, whether it's Spotify or on
Facebook
the app.
Groups. How big is the Facebook group?
And on YouTube, which is the largest platform for podcasts, they'll give you lots of analytics. And using those to say, I mean, I just had a meeting today where we were looking at the performance of some videos and, you know, why does one go viral and one doesn't? And I am happy to say that I'm always wrong. The video that we do, I'm like, oh, people are going to love this. This is going to resonate. And I'll be like, I don't know about this video. That's always the one that does the best.
You know, it's so funny. I'm going to cut you off for 2 seconds.
I don't know why.
Natalie said the exact same thing about her at Studio C.
I don't doubt it because our instincts aren't always right, but it doesn't mean that we're not missing the mark. So there's all these ways to collect data that they didn't have 15 years ago. That is invaluable. That can really, and that actually informs like sort of where we steer the ship in either and where we go to engage with our audience and our love group, or where we just like don't worry about, and where we put in like the advertising dollars or whatever things we try. And it's so fun because you can and you can do lots of A/B testing on YouTube and things like that for free. So that's really great. And the second thing that I wanted to bring up was like brass tacks for your audience of like, how do I do this? Is I think a lot of people forget that women are the main consumers. Oh, we 100%. Are making the money and we're buying all the crap. Not that your content is crap. Of course it's not. But do you know what I mean?
We're buying all the stuff.
We're buying all the stuff still. The majority of the stuff for the home, for our kids, for our spouses, like everything. And so our comedy is different because it is about our life experience.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And I think it's underutilized.
Oh, for sure it is. To kind of wrap this all up a little bit, I think one of the reasons you've been successful and that we've been able to be successful with some of our ads is we've really been able to channel like thoughts that people have had about a certain topic, a certain issue in a unique way that they don't feel like has ever been explored previously, or they're afraid to explore it, or it's taboo, and you make it fun and playful and open and inviting and kind of candid. I think that's really what it comes down to. It's
I do too.
I'm just going to shoot you straight. You know, let's talk about this.
And if I can like add on to that too, and I think it goes the same way, to trust the people that you hire.
Yeah.
To do a really great job. Because once they know and they feel they're trusted from you, they're going to give you more than you ask for.
Yeah.
They're going to over deliver because they want to. And because that like trust has been earned, right? You know,
100%.
there's the jobs where I go in and I get over directed, or, you know, say that like this, say the line, like you get line readings and stuff, which is a huge no-no, but like they just want to do it and they just want to do it fast, and I'll do it because I am there to do the best job that I can. So I'll give them exactly what they want. But sometimes, and it doesn't, and it happened like with Harmon Brothers, you feel trusted, you're invited in on the creative process. That's different than saying the lines. You're invited in. You're saying, this is what the client wants. This is how we wrote it. This is what we're envisioning. What do you think? And you're like, okay, I'll tell you. And you can take it or leave it. And then once that is like, I mean, that is just like that's the creative process.
Yeah.
It's not just doing a job. And I think a lot of people underestimate that. And I understand why, because these things are expensive and they're time consuming and they're important and everybody wants their voices heard and their stamp on it and stuff. And they want to take credit for it. And like, there's lots of different, like there's a lot more people involved. There's a lot of egos involved. Of course, everyone has one. But not acknowledging it isn't going to like solve the problem.
Yeah. Lisa, this has been awesome. I knew because one of those things, I like, you're not like always in advertising land. Like
no.
We had a really fun stint in there, but you've kind of been off on your own thing. And so I'm like, I'm really not, I would love to have Lisa on. She's so fun. She's so smart.
So great.
What are we going to talk about?
We're
in such different venues, but
I do. I feel like I'm selling, my show.
Yeah,
I'm selling,
I was like, you're naturally like, you understand how to resonate with people. And that's ultimately what advertisers are striving to do. And I'm like, that's what we're going to talk about. We're just going to talk about how to speak to people in an authentic way. And I think you did a beautiful job at it.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for coming on, Lisa.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for watching Raising Unicorns.
Subscribe now.
Check out our Black Friday deal at Harmon Brothers University. Get our Make Your Ads Funny course for only $30. That's over $250 off, and it's the only sale we run all year. So go to hbros.com/BFCM and grab it before it's gone. That's hbros.co/BFCM.